Time now for the sound off. That means I go back to my friend in the back. He is the, oh, that's not him. He is the shredded chicken to my ajiaco. He's the queso to my hot cocoa. People don't know about that queso and the hot cocoa thing that y'all do.
Queso blanco, bro.
Is that what they call it? No, that's the cheese, but what do they call the thing?
What?
If I ordered okay, so in Bogota, Colombia, you order hot cocoa, they put cheese in it.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. They put actual cheese in it, which I find horrendous, but they swear by it. You love it, right?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's just chocolate con queso. It doesn't have.
But it's not like typical hot chocolate here. It's a little richer.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, hot chocolate here is made with water.
Yeah.
And it's very watery. The one in Colombia is very, very
dense
rich,
and rich.
Very, yeah.
All right, man.
Really good.
Guide us through these calls, Senor Segura.
All right. So let's just keep talking about Johnny Walker because that name is
people love that name, don't they?
Oh, I mean, what's not to hate? What's not to love about Johnny Walker?
Yeah, true.
What's up, Luke Thomas? What's up, Danny Segura? Alan from Rio, Brazil, currently in Colorado. Want to talk about Johnny Walker. Got really impressed about the guy. A tight clinch from hell, raining elbows from the top. Do you have any intel on how good his takedown defense is and how far he can go, in your opinion, and who you think he should fight next? I'm pretty sure he can demolish all those guys around the top 10. Like Glover, like OSP. Do you think that that's the next step for him, or he should get someone around the top 5? Thanks for the show, guys. Grande abraço. Mi papá está ahorita en Bogotá, Colombia.
Lucky him.
Yeah, no kidding. That is awesome. By the way, his English is amazing, too. A trilingual.
His English is great, yeah.
I'll say this about Johnny Walker. I used to be one of these guys who would go through and do all kinds of scouting. I don't have time for scouting anymore. So the answer is, how good is his takedown defense? Couldn't tell you. How far can he go? Couldn't tell you. Here's what I can say. Super excited to find out. If you want to know a lot about prospects, you got to follow the Grabaka Hitman on Twitter. You got to follow Smoogie on Twitter as well, SMOOGY. These guys were kind of involved in like the scouting of talent. They might know more than me, but I'll say this. You want to talk about a UFC debut? Jesus Christ, he's good. If you're looking for more readily available footage, remember he came through Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series Brazil edition, so that's available as well.
Yeah, and it's just so nice seeing fresh blood in that like heavyweight division. And Johnny Walker just looked like a killer. I mean,
athletic.
Super athletic, and his tie clinch was. I mean, what he did to Khalil Roundtree is super high level, and Khalil is pretty high level on the feet, so it's super impressive. He's only 26. I think he's currently in a 7-fight win streak right now. So.
And has a lot of natural advantages. Again, he appeared to me to be incredibly strong, but to be tall, long, lanky, and athletic. We've seen Gustafsson. We've seen now Johnny Walker, Jon Jones. These guys, it works if you can have those kinds of dimensions.
In contrary to this caller's request, keep them away from the top 10, right? I mean, this is something we do with exciting prospects. As soon as they get, a nice win, you're just like, all right, let me see him against, so-and-so and so-and-so. Just keep knocking people out. We'll see you later.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Cynthia Calvillo. Great interview, by the way.
Thanks.
Hey, Luke. This is Marco calling from Orange County, California. I just wanted to know what you thought of Cynthia Calvillo's weight issues and how far you think she's going to go in the division. And also, I'm not sure if you caught the translation of when Ricardo Lamas was asking who's going to invite him for the barbecue. The poor translator asked them if anybody was going to invite him over for a meat eating. So just let me know what you think. All right, thanks.
I did not hear that. I had the volume down low. What happened with Ricardo Lamas?
So I didn't think it was that big deal, but basically a translator who's also a commentator for the Spanish broadcast over in Latin America, Emilio, who also did our post-fight show. Anyways, basically just said if anybody wanted to invite Ricardo Lamas to eat meat, basically. Which the translation is weird, but in Spanish it doesn't sound bad.
You just invited someone over for
for
the grill, basically.
Exactly.
Grill out. Okay, that's funny.
But anyways, Cynthia Calvillo, this question to me got a lot more interesting when, after listening to your interview.
Yeah.
She was saying how she has trouble making 116. and she has that sort of, she really uses that extra pound, If you want to fight for the title, you want to make sure you're hitting, 115. So if your goal is not to challenge for the belt, I guess I can see why you would want to stay at 115 because there are advantages to being bigger. But man, if you're putting your health at risk, go up to 125. And she already said she's somewhat open, so just do it.
So here's what I would say. Remember, she fought Joanne Calderwood, and Calderwood was the one that missed weight that time.
Yeah.
This is her only weight miss, as far as I am.
No, she's got 2 misses.
What's the other one?
In the UFC.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Yep, I'm pretty sure.
I thought this was the first time she had it, because Calderwood was the one.
Oh, no,
that
never mind. Calderwood.
Yeah, Calderwood was the one that missed. Now, so for me, I'm willing to say, okay, I'll grant you a mulligan on this one. If it happens again, I think you're right. It's like maybe she can make 116 or whatever. But if you're somebody who we're thinking about could be a title contender, it cannot be an issue. It cannot be unknown. It cannot be uncertain. It's got to be. Look at poor Yoel Romero, man. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just a situation where if you're going to be in that space and that's going to limit you, you're just kind of always going to be there. You have to figure this out. So she even said she was, at least the good news is she appears to be open to the idea of going to 125. So I'm very happy to see that. I'll say this, temporary pass. Let's see how things go. This happens one more time. You got to move up.
Yeah. And I mean, she also said that she went into it. The only reason why she went into this division was because there was no 125 in the UFC.
Right.
But now there is, so I don't know.
Options.
And also, I feel like the ladder at 125 is still not determined. So you can get a couple wins or even just one win. And if you play your cards right, you're in the mix.
Exactly.
So, all right. So we got, by the way, correction. You said we only have one lady listener. Well, Esther Lynn listens to us every Monday. So
I forget. Yeah, but she kind of has to. That's different.
And because you said that, we actually had another female caller hit us up.
Oh, there you go. You know what?
You got 2.
It turns out you insult them and they come out and defend themselves.
There's more, man.
All right.
You're underestimating our female
I suppose I am. What do they have to say, Danny? Let's hear
All right. They actually have a really good question.
Okay.
Hey, Luke, it's Jessica. I'm from Orange Park, Florida. My question is for you. Nick Diaz is scheduled to fight Jorge Masvidal. Do you think that this is a good fight for him or a misstep? And if not, what is the fight you would have chosen for him? All right. Huge fans of your show. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
So
here we go.
It's been reported that...
Where's Orange Park, Florida, by the way?
I'm not sure.
Sounds...
Central? I'm hearing.
Go ahead. I'm going to look it up while you share your opinion here, please.
So it's been reported that Nick Diaz is going to finally return, and it's against Jorge Masvidal.
Yeah.
At least that's what's being reported. That is a fight that I would consider a dream fight for me. Like, if I had to make a matchup involving Nick Diaz, Jorge Masvidal is at the top of that list to fight.
Why?
Or top 5. I feel like in a way they're kind of the same person, just from different areas. Like Jorge Masvidal, he's Hispanic, he's got a Cuban heritage, and he's from Miami, and he's got this whole 305 going. Well, Nick Diaz is, from the west part of this country, and he's got sort of the same swagger going on, and they're both strikers, very exciting. They both, not only are they're somewhat brawlers, but at the same time, they're also very technical.
Yeah, technical brawlers.
Yeah, they're technical brawlers. They like to stand. They also have good jiu-jitsu background. They're not afraid to talk trash, and I just feel like that's a super exciting fight.
Yeah, they're the street guys who came up in terms of professional ranks that came up through the system. They're tough as nails. They don't take shit from anybody.
Nope.
But they can do it all. To your point, Jorge can strike, he can wrestle, he can do jiu-jitsu, and Nick's probably better as a grappler, but in MMA context, Jorge is certainly no slouch.
Yeah.
And I love this fight. I love this fight for all the same reasons that you do. I think that this fight is incredible. It's a good opportunity for Jorge. Maybe the Cerrone win is a signature win, but this would for sure be the biggest one. Nick's been gone for 4 years. I think just pumping him into a title fight, I don't know how much sense that really makes.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, financially, you could probably make it work. I think it'd be an exciting fight for the fans. It would tell us exactly where Nick is in his career. It's the reason I was interested in having Ben Askren fight Jorge Masvidal. Like, you beat Jorge Masvidal, man, you're a good fighter.
Yeah.
So that would tell us exactly where Nick's at. I'm not saying it's the best fight. I'm not saying it's the perfect fight, but it's a damn good one, and I like it. By the way, apparently Orange Park, Florida, a suburb of Jacksonville.
Mm.
There you go.
Interesting.
Nobody cares. All right.
Yeah. So let's keep it Florida themed.
All right.
What's up?
Hey guys, it's Alexandria from Gainesville, Florida. My question is, do we think that Ben Askren is trying to create as many rivalries as possible so that he can stay relevant and become maybe as popular as Conor McGregor? What do you guys think? I personally think yes. So let me know. Thanks, guys.
The planting seeds, right? That's one of the most, not the most, but definitely overlooked aspects of the fight game. Everyone just talks about their next opponent and that's it. And if you try to ask them other questions, they go, no, I'm just focused on this fight. I mean, you've done fighter interviews. You try to be like, oh, so, what do you think about this? Oh, no, I'm only focused on my fight right now. But Ben Askren is going out there kind of like Conor McGregor did when he was coming up, and he's just calling everybody out and just getting into arguments with everyone on Twitter.
Just spraying the block with the AK-47, right?
Yeah.
Everybody gets a shot. Yeah, you're right. It's like, oh, if this rivalry falls through, I've got that one. That one falls through, I've got that one. Remember, Chael Sonnen, when he was trying to get a fight with Anderson Silva, after every win, he would barely even talk about what happened that night, at least with Joe Rogan. And then he'd be like, Anderson Silva, you absolutely suck, or whatever he was going to say. Maybe at the post-fight press conference where he's talking to the media, well, then he'd pull off the mask a little bit and sort of be more of himself. But he stayed on message picking fights, or he was picking a fight with Vanderlei, or he was picking a fight. He was always picking the fights with somebody so that when that fell through, the next one was up and ready to go. And it's obvious what Ben's doing. Now, being as popular as Conor McGregor, boy, you got a lot more fights to pick than just Colby Covington and Darren Till. But, yes, the idea is he's just trying to open up his options.
Super smart from his part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he's been doing it for quite a bit, too. All right, let's talk about Alistair Overeem, who fights this weekend.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, let's not forget about that.
Hey, Luke and Danny, it's Max from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. I'm just asking a question about Alistair Overeem. If he were to lose this weekend, where do you think he would go from here, given his brutal loss to Curtis Blades and then a loss to a newcomer in the UFC? Thanks. Have a great day.
So this is, people are not really aware of this. I feel like this upcoming card is kind of flying under the radar.
Yes, it is.
And there's a very important fight involving Alistair Overeem.
He's co-main event, right?
And he's the co-main event, yeah. I mean,
he's coming up. Okay, so for research for the Curtis Blades interview, I went back and I watched Blades versus Overeem. Dude, that is a very horrible fight for Alistair Overeem. He got knocked out, and then he gets cut a million different ways with elbows. It was really kind of bad. And he's 38 years old. He's won 2 of his last 5, 1 of his last 3. The last 2 he lost via stoppage. Look, man, Alistair Overeem is one of the best heavyweights to ever do it.
Yeah.
Remember when Overeem was the Dream Champ, the K1 Champ, and the Strikeforce Champ all at the same time, or within close proximity of each other? I mean, he was on top of the world, and I take my hat off to him. What an unbelievable career he's had. By the way, he might win this Saturday. I'm not saying yes or no. I'm merely saying if it were to go poorly for him, again, I'm not here to tell these guys how to live their lives, but I don't know why retirement, or at least considering it anyway, would be some kind of horrible option. I mean, if he's not going to be contending for a title, do you want to be going there and losing to people that you haven't heard of in China? No, I think Overeem has beaten the very best of his generation more often than not. He's done amazing things. If the peak has passed, hey, that's okay. Everyone has an end. If he wins, different debate. But I just feel like he's done enough.
Would you agree, though, sort of his career's on the line, at least for title contention?
For title contention, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, if he loses 3 in a row, although he's come back from somewhat similar situations. Remember when he lost to Bigfoot? I was there for that card. That was my first UFC card I ever covered.
Is that right?
Yeah. It was in Vegas. And then he lost to Travis Brown. And then it looked for like a split second that was sort of the end of Alistair Overeem. But then he reinvented himself and had this crazy run. Oh, and he also had the Ben Rothwell loss.
But he beat Struve, Nelson, Dos Santos, Arlovsky, lost to Stipe, but came back and beat Hunt and Verdum.
Yeah.
And then he loses the last 2. Here's the other thing. I've been wrong about heavyweights before and trying to bury them before they were ready to be buried. So I've been wrong about it. I'm just going to say, let's see how it looks. But if it's 3 losses in a row and you're not in title contention, you just have to ask yourself, what's the point of it all?
Yeah, maybe a step down in competition to head to another organization.
Yep,
I don't know how his contract is.
Goes back to kickboxing or something. Who knows?
Oh yeah, for sure. All right, let's talk about BJ Penn, and this is gonna be a fun question.
All right.
Hey, how you doing, Luke? My name is Edwin. I'm from Wayne, New Jersey. Just reaching out to you. I'm a big fan of the show. I just wanted to understand one thing that I've always seen people say BJ Penn is one of the greatest lightweights of all time. What did he do exactly to become the greatest lightweight of all time? Now, I'm not ignorant to the question. I understand that he was dominant at his era. But if we look at his record, he never had the belt for a certain amount. He never had multiple defenses. It was he won one fight, won 2 fights, and then lost the belt. He didn't keep it consistent. Why do you think people put BJ Penn in such high regards? Thank you for answering my question. Thank you.
This is an opinion a lot of people hold, actually. They're like, well, what is so great about BJ? You look at his resume, even during his peak, and they're like, that's not Habib's resume. But you have to understand, he competed in a totally different era. Here's why he was special. He was called a prodigy for a reason. First American to win the Black Belt World Championships in jiu-jitsu, right? No one had ever done it before him at that level, number one. Then he crosses over into MMA with virtually no training and started blowing the doors off of people, and wasn't doing much prep. Jumping weight classes, and he had some losses along the way, but would jump weight classes and then go do incredible things. Conor was jumping. People were like, oh my God, this is amazing. He was doing something like that up to the point where, yes, he fought Lyoto Machida at light heavyweight and he was all bloated and it didn't go well. But the point being was, BJ was doing these heroics. He had a lot of heroic moments, including the beating of Matt Hughes at UFC 40, whatever it was, to capture the welterweight crown. And up to that point, you just never seen anybody do anything like that. So you're saying, my God, look at this guy who was a technical phenom. Here's the other thing. At his peak, he didn't take damage very much. Like if he got punched, he didn't get swollen up.
Yeah.
He had ridiculous wrestling. He had an amazing jab. His jiu-jitsu spoke for itself. He just did things that were incredible. And you can look at, he lost to St. Pierre the first time. He put St. Pierre through the ringer in that one. So you're like, well, he lost, but he was just doing incredible heroics. BJ's resume is not about consistency. BJ's resume is intermittent moments of peaking. Maybe we're overrating it, maybe we're not, but that's the way to evaluate it.
Yeah, I also feel like when we start discussing, the GOAT conversation, a lot of it is also what that fighter makes people feel at the moment. If you watch Anderson Silva when he was, at his peak, there was something much more that you got than just watching his performance. It was sort of an aura, right? There's something to be said there. So I feel like, and I'm just assuming maybe this caller didn't live exactly through that era, and that happens to me. Like when people talk about Fedor, and people have been watching MMA for a really long time, I respect Fedor. Obviously, I can look at his record and look at the stats, but I still don't have the same connection that others have when they watched him fight live, and I think that's huge.
It is a major component. My producer on my radio show never saw Couture fight. For me, that's like
and if you look at his record,
crazy. Yeah,
you're like, look at his record. You're like, who is this?
You're like, well, he's got some nice wins, but look at all these losses. You're like, no, you don't get it. Like he was doing incredible things, but I admit, there's a modern sensibility that resume. Those old resumes don't quite match. What else we got?
All right, you pick something about a movie or Jon Jones, Gustafsson.
We can do both. We'll do the movie first.
Okay.
Hey, Luke and Danny. My name's Alice, calling from Orlando, Florida. First of all, Luke,
a lot of people from Florida.
See if your allergies are doing better. I hope they are.
Yes.
And wanted to ask, Luke, what's your favorite martial arts movie? Very curious to know. And if you haven't, you should watch a movie called The Night Comes for Us. Some of the best martial arts I've ever seen in a movie. All right. Thanks.
I can't tell if that question is trolling because I did a 40,000 viewed review of the movie on my own YouTube channel about a month ago. And I've been raving about it on my radio show constantly. Have you seen The Night Comes for Us?
No.
Do you have Netflix?
I do.
Boy,
is that the one in Thailand that you've been talking about?
Indonesia, in Jakarta. Yeah. You need to watch it. I'm not kidding. You seriously need to.
I will this week.
Here's what I'm telling you. 20 minutes in, and your hands are going to be sweating. It's ridiculous.
Let's do this. I'll watch it, and next Monday I'll give you my review.
Well, when they start cutting each other's face off with box cutters in the final scene, you begin to get an appreciation for it. But the point being is, best movie, I mean, it depends what you want to be. Bloodsport holds the one that closest to my heart from my romantic childhood.
Yeah.
Bruce Lee's, Enter the Dragon, Game of Death, all those are big. If you're asking about like the best action / martial arts movie I've ever seen, like what's the best representation of martial arts? Super Ninjas is this old school movie that a lot of folks don't know. People died making that movie from injuries. 2 people died making it. But I would say, have you seen The Raid or The Raid 2?
From what era?
Oh, the Raid and the Raid 2 are from just a few years ago.
Okay. Okay, go on. Yeah.
Dude, the Raid and the Raid 2. When I grew up, and I mentioned this in my review, when I was a kid, all the major Hollywood studios or Hong Kong studios are where the martial arts movies came from. Now it's Indonesia. Bro, those Indonesian guys, Joe Taslim and Iko Uwais, I don't know how you pronounce his name properly. Those donkeys are out there putting on a show. If you've not seen The Raid, it's $3 on YouTube Movies. It is the best $3 you will ever spend. No one is making martial arts movies like the Indonesians.
To be honest, I'm not a huge fan of martial arts movies.
Get out!
The newer ones. I'm a huge fan of Bruce Lee. The Big Boss is one of my favorites. And first of all, the aesthetic of the 70s, also like the sort of those movies really captured it, and it was nice. Bloodsport, amazing. I like the older movies. I feel like the new ones, most of them are cheesy, and they always have the same storyline. It's like some dude that either got bullied in school and then, started training and beat up the bully. Like, it's always like the same, like all those Never Back Down and stuff. Like,
well, watch The Raid.
Yeah, I watched The Raid.
Never Back Down is like first base with a girl. Freaking The Raid is, I don't even know. It's like your wedding night. I don't even know what to tell you. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. All right, one more, and then we got to go.
All right. This one was a pretty
Well, I
good
have to do the Curtis Blades interview, but I mean, for the segment.
Yeah. 1 second. All right.
Little Jones Gus, right?
Yeah. Give it a few seconds. For some reason, this caller took like 5 seconds before.
Hello,
actually
the
submitting a
MMA
question.
Hour. My name is Haroon, and I'm calling from Madrid. I have a question regarding the Gustafsson's Jones fight. It's a tough one to call for me since they've both been out of action so long, but no one seems to back Alex Gustafsson. So my question is, how does he get it done? And let's imagine he does win. What happens next in the division if he shocks the world? I've learned a lot from you guys. Thanks for the hard work. Aupa atleti.
Aupa atleti.
Two losers, you and him. You and
Hey,
Haroon.
by the way, you said this off air. I'm going to call you out on air.
What?
If Atletico Madrid manages to win Champions League,
Other thing. Yeah.
we're putting the scarf up.
Yeah, we're not taking down my Real Madrid one, understand.
Okay.
We'll just hide it behind the things. All right. Okay. So how will he manage to get it done? The answer is I have no freaking clue. And part of the reason why people aren't believing him is not that they don't think Gustafsson's talented, but since then, Jon has had, OSP fight notwithstanding, a bunch of really good performances. Gustafsson lost to DC, and he had some other good ones too, but it's not like he had the same reign of terror that Jon did, number one. Number two, Jon has actually been more active recently, if you can believe it.
Yep.
So that's probably another reason. So how would he get it done? For me, the issue is I don't know, but if he were to, I would believe that something relative and related to Jon's inactivity would make that possible. But I'm open to all possibility. Trying to predict that just seems like, with specificity, seems like a fool's errand. So I'll just say it's possible. I need to see what it looks like. What it would do is it would turn two divisions on their head. Jon's return is about asserting supremacy at light heavyweight and then picking up right where he left off, or I should say at light heavyweight, and then taking off rather at heavyweight.
Yeah.
It would turn both of those on their head. It would be a major monumental upset. And they would probably have a third fight after it, by the way, to settle it. So there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure a third fight, just because then it'd be a 1-1. So that would come. I don't know if it'd be immediate rematch. I would put money on it that it'd be yes. Obviously, depending on how the fight goes.
Yeah.
But there will, if Gus wins, there will be some sort of rematch at some point. And yeah, it'll put those divisions,
it would
in
tear
some weird order. Yeah, because I feel like you can imagine all the possible paths that any of those two divisions can take with Jones winning. But with Gus winning, now you got to think about like what you're gonna do next, right? It's not so obvious.
It would be a third fight between the two.
Yeah.
There's no way. All right, man. That's it for us today. Yes? Where'd you go? Oh, no, I'm not done. Hold on, bring him back.
I'm here.
There he is. Have a good Thanksgiving, my friend.
Gracias.
And enjoy the ajiaco. I'm sure you're going to be having some.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, I'll be jealous. But
Send you pics.
Well, yeah, send me some pics. All right, thank you so much. We'll talk to you next Monday.